far as this 2G is concerned, what's important about it is first the size of the loss to the nation, which is $40 billion. And then the second is the size of the bribe, which is about $12 billion. And third is that national security has been compromised by a deliberate action of several politicians. And so now the country is in danger. And corruption is no more now only a question of politicians earning some money. It is having an economy-wide effect. It distorts investment priorities because people with black money spend mostly on luxury goods. So luxury goods industry's rate of return goes up. Then they use the money to hoard food grains and sugar and oil and these things. And therefore common man's goods inflation also takes place. Then our stock market gets rigged because this black money is used by various devices which the government ministers have legislated on. So it's a ramification of it is enormous, and if we can't stop 2G, then we can say goodbye to our society as having any hope of becoming a clean society in the future.
Dr. Swamy, thanks for telling on a higher level the implications and all, but in a second level, can you tell us what exactly happened and who did what and what is the reason for this $12 billion?
Well, the corruption took place because, you see, first of all, people don't know the difference between 1G, 2G, 3G. But there's a joke going around that the Prime Minister has asked, what is this 2G? He said, Sonia G and Rahul G is all I know. So, actually G stands for generation. The first generation was the cordless phone, where only your voice could travel wirelessly or by airwaves. Then came this 2G, where emails, MMS, SMS, then photos, they could be sent. Then the third generation, 3G, you can see a video of whom you're talking to, and the person who takes your phone can also see you on the other side. So as the frequency cycle increases, the amount of information you can send wirelessly also increases. And therefore in the sky you have to partition the sky to see that these waves don't clash with each other. That's called spectrum. That's partitioning, each partition is called a spectrum. So this spectrum has to be allotted because it's not unlimited. And because it's not unlimited, therefore it has to be allocated in a very efficient way. The most efficient way is an auction. That's what most people have recommended also. But the telecom minister decided no auction. He claims that the BJP government also did the same thing and all. That's not an argument. The argument is we take care of BJP later. But first, you admit that what you did was wrong. And second thing is that he fixed the price of spectrum at 2001 price, arbitrary.
Okay.
And that is 1/10 the price in 2008.
So that's where this $12 billion difference.
And $40 billion.
$40 billion.
And of course, he didn't do it alone because the Manmohan Singh government cabinet had decided that the finance minister and the telecom minister would jointly decide, and not the cabinet. Cabinet will not decide this. And the finance minister then was Chidambaram. So if Raja is in jail for fixing a low price of 1/10 the market price, then Chidambaram is also equally guilty. So I have filed a petition, and which has been heard already and now posted for 24th August when I return back. So this is that. And the third thing is the fact that the Home Ministry advisory was that no one should be allowed to do any business with two companies, Etisalat and Telenor, because one Etisalat is connected with Dawood Ibrahim and ISI, and Telenor is connected with the Chinese People's Army. So the Home Ministry had objected to any economic transaction. But the two favorite companies of Raja, which are not even telecom companies but real estate companies, they got the license and immediately sold it to, one sold it to Etisalat, the other sold it to Telenor at 8 times the price they paid. So already you got proof that, that the market could have afforded 8 times more, if not 10 times, as I am saying. So this is, violation of national security. So I've asked for all licenses to be cancelled. So that petition has been heard and the judgment has been reserved. So it may come any day. So this is the nitty-gritty.
So where do you derive the strength? Because typically in Tamil Nadu, to fight against whichever government, state government is, it's a very courageous effort, and then at the same time you're also working on the cases against the UPA government, which is another bigger thing. So where did you get the strength and courage to do these things?
Well, you have to have spiritual commitment, have faith in God, and so far I've always succeeded. I first fought Ramkrishna Hegde. I brought him down. He was at that time considered the most popular value-based politician, as people used to call him. But it turned out he was very corrupt. Then I fought Jayalalitha, who was murderous actually. Many attempts were made on my life. But in the end she lost and went to jail on the basis of my case. So I have that faith that if I do the right thing, then there will be divine intervention to protect me.
శ్రోతలు యువ తెలుగు రేడియో కార్యక్రమం వింటున్నారు. ఇంగ్లీష్లో వింటుంటే మళ్ళీ ఇదేంటి మనం వేరే ఛానల్ వచ్చేసామని అనుకోవచ్చు. నేను మీ వ్యాఖ్యాత గోపాల్, నాతో పాటు కేసీ గారు ఉన్నారు. ఈ రోజు మన స్టూడియోలో ఒక ముఖ్య అతిథి డాక్టర్ సుబ్రహ్మణ్యం స్వామి గారు 2G స్కామ్ గురించి చాలా కష్టపడుతున్నారు కూడా. ఆయన మన స్టూడియోలో ఉన్నారు. ఇవాళ మధ్యాహ్నం సనాతన ధర్మ ఫౌండేషన్ వారు చేసే హిందూ యూనిటీ డేలో అధర్మ ఆఫ్ కరప్షన్ దాని గురించి ప్రసంగించడానికి డాలస్ కు వచ్చారన్నమాట. ఈ కార్యక్రమం sdfglobal.org కి వెళ్తే మీకు తెలుస్తుంది. ఈ రోజు పొద్దున 11 నుంచి సాయంత్రం 4 వరకు హాలిడే ఇన్ ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ లో ప్లేనోలో 75 అండ్ పార్క్ దగ్గర ఉంది. డాక్టర్ స్వామి గారు వెళ్ళిపోవాలి కాబట్టి ఎక్కువ సమయం లేదు కాబట్టి 2-3 ప్రశ్నలే వేయడం జరుగుతుంది.
డాక్టర్ స్వామి, here is a question. You were the first one to object to and go on petition against the National League and the eligibility of Sonia Gandhi to become the Prime Minister of India.
That's right.
So what are your reservations against her nationality, whereas to a common man it appears that she is eligible as a citizen of India to become the Prime Minister of India?
Well, there are two things. First of all, what I objected to at that time was there was a clause which has been now removed, but it is unconstitutionally removed, so I can challenge it, the removal in midterm. It was a proviso to Section 5 of the Citizenship Act. It said that any foreign citizen becoming a citizen of India would be subject to the same restrictions and regulations which an Indian becoming citizen in that foreigner's country is subjected to. So if an Indian becomes an Italian citizen, he cannot become Prime Minister. You have to be born. So therefore it applies to Sonia that if she becomes citizen of India, she cannot be Prime Minister. So therefore I went and petitioned the President. The President was convinced. He also had a lot of additional data. And on that basis of that material, he had invited her on 17th May at 5 p.m. to come and stake a claim for forming the government. Then at 3:30 he wrote her a letter saying, I will receive this complaint and I'm going to refer it to the Supreme Court and the Election Commission. And you may please wait till then, till that whole thing. I cannot invite you to form a government till this is clear. But if you want to meet me, you can come not today at 5 o'clock as it originally given. That appointment is cancelled. You can come tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So next day when she went, she met him alone and she kept Manmohan Singh outside. And they had some discussion. And then she called Manmohan Singh in and told the President, now I will have to go through the same process. She had definitely intention to wanting to become Prime Minister because she had submitted 340 letters of MPs supporting her. And that included a letter from her saying, I, Sonia Gandhi, elected from so-and-so, hereby propose the name of Sonia Gandhi for Prime Minister of India. So, therefore, she would have signed that unless she had an injunction. So, earlier on also in 1999, she had gone to the President saying she had 272 MPs. It turned out she didn't even have 230. So, that was the thing. And there is also a fault in her citizenship application itself, where they've asked her whether you have renounced your Italian citizenship. And she said, she's written on it, not applicable.
Not applicable.
No. That means she has not answered it. Why she has not answered it? Because she has not yet renounced.
Okay. Here is one more question that follows this. The question is about people in India, most of the people see you as a crusader of the anti-corruption activities in politics. So during the last 6 years, during the regime of Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy in Andhra Pradesh, there have been very serious allegations about the abuse of power,
Yes.
crony capitalism,
Yes.
and abuse of exchequer,
Yes.
and nepotism. And with all this, there is your favorite point of proselytization.
Yes.
So there have been cases and allegations of conversion into Christianity,
Yes.
and church being run as a state-aided organization in Andhra Pradesh. And as you know, the magnitude of corruption charges on Dr. Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy and his son are almost to the tune of what has happened in Tuji's camp.
Yes.
So it just occurs to me why it never caught your attention.
See, the problem is that I am today a private citizen.
Mhm.
If you appoint me as director of CBI, I will definitely would have taken it. All this requires a lot of hard work. And people with money have all the best lawyers and so on. So I have to defeat them in court.
Yeah.
So it's basically the fact, lack of public office in my part, that I have to pick and choose.
Okay.
Definitely, if you put me in a position where I become in charge of CBI, then I can tell you any case you refer to me, I'll investigate.
So do you, but by going what you see and what you read and being in the higher echelons of
Yes.
politics, do you see a prima facie evidence against Dr. Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy?
Oh, 100%. There's no doubt about that. In fact, his bank account, when I got it confirmed from a friend abroad, was 78,000 crores. And his son owes an explanation whether he inherited that money or not.
So as an economics professor, you know that the material rise is not really possible in the corporate world within a span of 6 years.
Well, crises can come at any time because events happen suddenly. You see, these congressmen were all saying suddenly Sonia Gandhi has got some terrible cancer, and everything is changed.
Yeah.
So, we can only do the right thing. That is, the philosophy should be we do the right thing. What happens in the future is determined by events, which is not in your control. That is God. God does it. So that's how.
So coming to going after, related to what Casey asked Dr. Swamy, we need more of Dr. Swamys. Because
maybe I should start a school
or do you have a succession plan, or are you training or grooming? What's happening in that
you see,
area?
the thing is that yes, I have a team. Otherwise, I can't do all this paperwork. Sitting in America, sometimes sitting in some place, and go to China sometimes, and still coming to court all fully prepared with all the papers filed. And all. I have a team. I don't expose them. There are people who target them. Today, in fact, in my house in Delhi, when I'm not there. In fact, my wife was not there, nobody was there. Only my granddaughter, 10 years, was there. A mob attacked my house, you see. So the question is that if actually easy, I can, immediately the police came and drove them away and all that. But my team people, you see, when they become to the public eye, they'll be in trouble. So I keep them and tell them to stay in the background. So I think one of the things I have started is a new television station. Called KrishnaTV.net, which if you go to the website you can see its details, where I propose to take out things from our Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc. and put it in modern language, both in Tamil and English, later on in Hindi, and then of course other languages. I can of course never compete with ETV where they have done every language, but the fact is that I want to do that. That's one way, prepare the masses. Second is, I am seriously thinking maybe next year, that is the end of next year, that I should start an institute and recruit 100 people every year and put them through a 4-month course on how to do RTI, how to file a case, how to argue a matter, how to deal with the police, and how to collect money without being called corrupt. All this, because you need money, but you need to have it clean. So how to keep accounts, all these basic things, basic tools of politics. Entered to.
Yes, that's most needed, Dr. Swamy. As I said, we need more Dr. Swamy, so more and more grooming is needed.
You're making some other people very angry by saying that.
Well, eventually it will be good for the country. So, శ్రోతలు యువ తెలుగు రేడియో కార్యక్రమం వింటున్నారు. డాక్టర్ సుబ్రహ్మణ్యం స్వామి గారు మన స్టూడియోలో ఉన్నారు. సనాతన ధర్మ ఫౌండేషన్ చేసేవారి హిందూ యూనిటీ డే, 4వ హిందూ యూనిటీ డేలో అధర్మ ఆఫ్ కరప్షన్ గురించి మాట్లాడడానికి వచ్చారు. హిందూ యూనిటీ డే ఈ రోజు పొద్దున్న 11 నుంచి సాయంత్రం 4 వరకు ఉంటుంది. దాంట్లో డాక్టర్ సుబ్రహ్మణ్యం స్వామి గారు మాట్లాడతారు. అధిక వివరాలకు sdfglobal.org వెళ్ళొచ్చు. తర్వాత కేసీ గారు మనకు ఒక క్వశ్చన్ అడుగుతున్న తర్వాత మళ్ళీ బయలుదేరే సమయం అవుతుంది. Dr. Swamy, this is about the Hindu identity.
Yes.
What's happening is whenever I come across some people, they say that, I know that they are practicing Hindus, but they say they are a spiritualist or they are a universalist, or, people are scared of using the H word, the Hindu word.
Yes.
So I would like to find out what you think about it, what are the repercussions, and then what can we do to undo it, because, if there's no proper identity, I think the future generations will have an impact on that.
See, what happened in the 18th and 19th century is that Aurobindo, Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, then Swami Dayananda Saraswati, not the present Tamil one, but the Gujarati one, they all, Swami Shraddhanand, these people mounted a huge campaign to drive the British out. And they got tremendous mobilization. So the British came to the conclusion that this Hindu religion, is over 80%. And these sadhu sannyasis are held in respect. So we should not allow them to be able to mobilize the Hindus. We must keep them divided on caste, religion, this thing, language, and all that. So therefore they wanted to create a new concept. They brought in this concept of secularism. Unfortunately, Jawaharlal Nehru swallowed it. And soon secularism meant not proudly proclaiming your religion. You may not be against Muslims, you may not be against Christians, but you should not even say, I'm proud to be a Hindu. So this kind of thing continued, got induced in the books. Then the problem became that communists became very influential in the 50s and 60s of India, particularly up till the 70s. So the communists hate religion. So therefore what they do is, anyone with any inclination to religion, they ruin their careers because they became placed in very important positions. University, if they knew you are a Hindutva man, or if you went around putting a tika, then you will not get your academic positions, and you will not get promotion if you are already there. So this became that for career interests you have to hide your Hindu. So today a kind of self-consciousness, feeling of shame is there to say, I am Hindu. I am proud I am a Hindu. I want to change that, and that's why I am campaigning. Why Hindutva doesn't mean that you have to be against any other religion, but how you must imbibe our concepts.
Excellent. And Dr. Swamy, one last question. I would like to tell our listeners a little bit about your efforts in opening up the Manasa Sarovar Yatra for all the yatris, for devotees.
Yes. Well, it all began because when the Janata came to power in 1977, Morarji Desai became Prime Minister. And he was known as a very anti-Chinese person. At that time, I was already an expert on China. I spoke the language. I was a professor at Harvard. I was a professor at IIT. I wrote many books, and I was known as a China scholar. So one day Morarji asked me, how do you deal with China? So I said, first of all, Indira Gandhi favored Russia, the Soviet Union, over China. We are supposed to be a non-aligned country. Why we should favor any country? So make it clear to China that in the war, because that time the conflict between the Soviet Union and China was very, very intense. They even had border conflict, firing and all that along the Usagi River. So I said to him, let's make it clear to Chinese that in their fight with Russia, we will not take sides. So Morarji said, will you go and convey this? That's how I went. And the whole policy changed. The Soviet Union was very angry. And that's how my influence in China got established. Then in 1981, Deng Xiaoping, that topmost leader, invited me. And at one stage he said, in the end, is there anything I can do for you? So I said, is there anything you want that is left unsaid? You know? So I said, yes, I have always wanted to visit Kailash Mansarovar, but you have closed it. So he didn't know what Kailash Mansarovar was. So he asked his officials who were sitting by, and they said they described it. Then he said, why are you interested? I said, I'm interested because I'm a Hindu. And that is the highest, you see, it's a place where everybody wants to go. So he said, okay, we'll give us 2-3 months, we'll clear up the place because these officials say that everything is now blocked there. And then on the condition that you go first, I will allow it. Now I had an Indian ambassador present with me in the talks. So he filed a report. So Mrs. Gandhi was then Prime Minister. So when the clearance came that yes, Hindu pilgrims can go to go, Mrs. Gandhi herself told me, although we were earlier on very bitter enemies, but slowly, because of Rajiv Gandhi, I started becoming friends with her also. Rajiv Gandhi was a very good friend of mine. So, therefore Mrs. Gandhi said, yes, you go first. So the first batch of 20 people went. They were all intelligent people. I don't know about disclosing that. They said, we have never seen Tibet, so please take us along with you. So 20 people went. The Chinese knew they were intelligent people. They tried to tell me, please keep it secret, but when I crossed the border, the Chinese knew already. So I went to Kailash. It's a beautiful place, and Mansarovar is such a pleasure to be. I would advise every Hindu. At least now the travelling is much easier.
Yes, there are some.
And if you can't walk, go to Nepal and take a helicopter. You see? So there is, it's Shiva's place. So one day I hope I can persuade the Chinese to give it to India completely.
That will be great, Dr. Swamy. And Dr. Swamy, once again, thank you very much for taking your valuable time. I know you have a very busy schedule ahead. You'll be participating in this Hindu Unity Day organized by Sanatan Dharma Foundation in the Holiday Inn Express today. And I know that you'll be talking about adharma of corruption. So, listeners, if any one of you are interested to listen to Dr. Swamy, you can go to the Holiday Inn Express